With Season 8 coming up next year, I wanted to take a look back on the last 7 seasons. Season 1, Episode 1, the episode that started it all. The episode starts out with Twilight Sparkle reading the tale of the two sisters. Then, she notices something and obviously has to check it out, and so she starts to run home, but then her friends stop her to ask to go to Moondancer's party. But Twilight, of course, refuses because she has a lot of quote-unquote studying to do. Then we see Twilight run off once again towards her home. While it shows her running off, her friends are talking about her behind her back, about how she needs to get out more. Twilight makes it to her house in Canterlot and we meet Spike, her #1 assistant. When we meet Spike, the first thing that happens is we see Twilight open the door on him, crushing his present, that we soon learn is for Moondancers. When she tells Spike that they aren't going to the party because they have to study, he tries to tell her that they are on a break. But, of course, she doesn't listen. After that, he helps Twilight find the book she was looking for the whole time while they were talking. After he finds the book, she opens it and starts to read. Quote, on the 1000th night of the 1000th year, the stars will align for her escape. It may not be exactly on point, but I am doing this from memory. After she reads the quote, she gets worried and sends a letter through Spike. And then soon after, Celestia responds with to summarize that everything will be okay and she needs to stop reading those dusty old books. Then, it cuts to Twilight and Spike riding in a chariot heading to Ponyville to help with setting up for the Summer Sun celebration, and to also make some friends. Shortly after she arrives, she runs into Pinkie Pie, who freaks out and runs away to go do something. Twilight and Spike then go to Sweet Apple Acres to check up on the food making. Applejack then introduces everyone in the Apple family to Twilight, and then Twilight has to go, but Applejack says her famous line, "Aren't you gonna stay for brunch?" Then, Twilight eventually agrees to stay and ends up eating more than she expected. As she and Spike are going to check the weather to make sure the skies are clear, Rainbow Dash crashes into Twilight, knocking her down into a mud puddle. Dash then apologizes while laughing. She then does her patented rain blow dry, which manages to dry Twilight while messing up her hair. Dash and Spike then proceed to tell her that it looks fine, but failed to do so as they fall over laughing. Twilight then asks if she is the pony that is supposed to be the one keeping the sky clear. And of course, Dash says yes. Then, after Dash pops off with, "I can clear the sky in 10 seconds flat," Twilight asks her to prove it. So Dash does. And in those moments, Dash expresses that she wants to join the Wonderbolts, an elite flying group. After a few seconds, it shows Twilight and Spike walking into Town Hall to check on the decorations. Spike then proceeds to fall in love with Rarity. Then Rarity notices Twilight's hair and she freaks out, and then takes her to her boutique and fixes her up while learning that Twilight is from Canterlot. Each one of them has all expressed that they are going to be the best of the bestest friends, much to Twilight's displeasure. After meeting with Rarity, they go to check up on the music, which Fluttershy is running. After Twilight accidentally scares off Fluttershy's birds, Twilight introduces herself. But then we learn that Fluttershy is a little too nervous for her own good, as when she's introducing herself, we can barely make out what her name is. But when Twilight sees Spike, she yells, "A baby dragon!" I'm not that good with Fluttershy impression, but yeah. She then opens up and says her name to where we can all hear it properly. As Twilight and Spike head to the library that they are staying in while in Ponyville, Fluttershy follows them and asks Spike to tell her his life story. So he does. Twilight's not too happy about that. When they get to the library, they find out that Pinkie Pie, who we met earlier, has thrown a welcome to Ponyville Party for them, and Twilight is not too happy about it, and she points out the fact that libraries are supposed to be quiet. After an incident, as Pinkie explains why she ran off earlier, and Twilight is not paying attention, Twilight accidentally pours hot sauce onto her cupcake, and then runs up to her room to hide from the party. Then, Spike comes to get her with a lampshade on his head, so they can watch the sunrise for the celebration. But then they get there after Mayor Mara announces Celestia, Nightmare Moon appears and threatens the ponies for eternal night forever. And that's where the episode ends. You can join me next time, where I talk about Season 1, Episode 2.